which was part of God's plan, which was part of God's blessing. Yes, it was sad that Rachel passed, and what a horrible thing. But folks, understand this. If you've trusted Christ your Lord and Savior, and someone who passes on has trusted Christ as their Lord and Savior, it is not a goodbye forever. We don't have to sorrow like those who don't have a hope, because it is a goodbye for just a short time. It's as if they've gone on a trip and you will see them again, because absent from the body is present with the Lord, and that's true for each one of us. We don't have to fear. We don't have to sorrow as if there is no hope, because there certainly is. And God continued to bless, and sometimes God uses death to bless, as he did in this case, as horrible as it was, as hard as this tragedy was this morning for them to see. Yet this is what God did. He blessed them. It was a hard blessing. But what did Jacob do? He sat there, he put a grave and he put a reminder by there, and to the time that, and up until the time that even when the people were first hearing the accounts of Genesis, even several hundred years later, they saw Rachel's grave as a reminder. Then he continued his journey on further. Actually, let's look at this. Another major point I want you to see. The evidence of God's blessing is not diminished by sin or death. The evidence of God's blessing is not diminished by sin or death. Look at verse 20. Look at verse 22. And it happened when Israel dwelt in the land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The son of Rachel's were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maidservant, were Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Zilpah, Leah's maidservant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, who were born in Padan Aram. Then Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, in Kirjath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had dwelt. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years. So Isaac breathed his last breath and died, and it was gathered to his people, being old and full of days, and his son Esau and Jacob buried him. Now, we saw, we casually read that, and a lot of that was given the list of the kids and who they belonged to, again showing the messed up. You think your family history is a little odd? Jacob's family history was really odd. I mean, think about this. You had one man who had 12 kids by 4 different women. And they all lived in the same, not only in the same vicinity, but they dwelled, in essence, within the same household. They didn't have houses like we do today, but it was in the same household. You talk about a jumbled mess, it was. But God worked in spite of that. And not only that, we see that one of his sons decides to, for reasons that we won't go into, that we don't know for certain, but he decides that he was going to sin with one of those women. And we're not given the details of what happened with that yet, although we're given foreshadows in the future. But in spite of all that, what happens? God continues and brings back another one of his promises. He promised that Jacob would return to his house in peace. And now Israel has returned to his house in peace. He comes back, and he's already been reunited with his brother, and here he's reunited with his brother again at his father's funeral, and they are in